welcome to the Talkoffamepod podcast with Kylie Montini as your host, and I'm honored to be joined by Chayla Hope, who is a singer-songwriter who just came out with her debut album called Damn Feelings that was released in 2022. And it's sparkly Euphoria conjures images of everything from the 80s arcades, present day queer clubs to golden hour convertible rides and marathon dive bar karaoke sessions with friends that you love. And welcome to podcast, Sheila. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here and talking with you. You seem so lovely.
Oh, thank you. You too. And as a LGBTQA artist, were you treated differently based off the way you performed and the music you create?
Yeah, I would say that. Drag had a huge impact on how I perform and how I dress. So I would say yes, but also not terribly. The music industry seems to be a little bit warmer. But of course, in my life, I get unfollows when people find out that I'm pansexual and just dumb stuff like that. But it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it. Is people will disagree on the way you see yourself or the things you kind of are as a person that they'll literally unfollow you or hate you because of that one thing.
It's so wild that just people are so scared of what they don't understand or know. And I think it would do everyone a favor just to read a little bit. It's really, we're not any different. We're just, you know, we like other things.
Yeah, and plus this is the way we are, I guess, right? It's just the way we
Yeah,
are, the way we chose to live. It's nothing different.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you think your music will kind of help people in the LGBTQA community?
Because I've felt alone for so long, I think I write a lot about that and a lot about personal acceptance, trying to find that balance. And I really hope that other people like me feel a little less alone when they listen to my music or just more a part of it. Yeah.
Did you kind of suffer with kind of finding people like you growing up as a kid, or is it
Oh,
was it okay, well, I see people like me, that's perfect.
no, I got made fun of in high school a lot. There was a girl I was really into, and that was a huge thing. People didn't, people told me it was just a phase. Like they just told me it was just a phase. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Brought a girl home. It was still, just a phase. But
Yeah,
um,
with when
yeah.
you're crushes, people are like, oh, it's just a phase, you'll get over in a couple of weeks type of thing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like, oh, you saw it on this TV show, and now I'm like, nope, always been this way. Just finally found the right terminology for it.
Oh yeah, it's people are like, oh, it's just you're just becoming obsessed with this person or this specific thing. I'm like, I always been obsessed with this, but it's finally I'm bringing it out to people. It's type of
Literally, literally, yes, yes.
and on July 1st, you'll be playing the Northside Rock Roll Carnival. What
Mhm.
are some things you're looking forward to in performing at the carnival?
Definitely seeing other bands. And they're also selling my beer there, my Damn Feelings beer with Saucy Brewworks. So that's a really cool thing too. I'm excited to see that in just a different city and be around it. And I'm just excited to play to a new crowd. I really, really love Cincinnati, and I think it's just going to be so fun. And I get to take my whole band, which is awesome. They don't normally let you do that very often.
Oh, really? They
Yeah,
don't?
because I have a six piece. So people are just like, just bring tracks. I'm like, that's not how I like to perform at all. So yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's just different from you're just if you don't have your full band, you're like, how am I supposed to play if I don't have all of
Yeah.
them?
It's just such a warm, awesome feeling with everybody on stage. Whereas, just tracks is fun, but it doesn't, there's no camaraderie on the stage. There's none of that. We have so much fun on stage. We're always laughing and smiling. It just comes out, and I miss that when they're not there for sure. Yeah.
How far is the drive from Cleveland to Cincinnati?
About 3.5 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That
Yeah.
long? I don't think that'd
I
even take.
know. You wouldn't think at all, but yeah, about three
Yeah,
and a half
because
hours.
Ohio is such a small state that what? How is that
I,
3 hours long?
I know. Yeah, it's
Because
crazy.
like Cleveland and Cincinnati are like different kinds of to stay like different parts of it.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
But like in general, like do you like rock and roll or you just like kind of like play some of those
Oh,
things?
no, I like everything. If it's good, I like it. Rock and roll. I was in rock bands for a very, very long time before doing this, what I'm doing now, which is my
Oh
favorite.
really?
I loved being in rock bands too. Yeah, I started in like screamo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No way. Like
Yeah.
what's like your favorite rock and roll artist, like songs?
Ooh, man. Well, I don't know if you'd count Jeff Buckley. I love Jeff Buckley so much. I would also say like Rosetta Thorpe. Um, and who else am I really, really into? I mean, I love T-Rex. Love T-Rex. So like
Mm.
older rock music is awesome. I like some of the new stuff too. It's just so rare now. It's not as like big as it used to be, but I
Yeah, like
love it.
yeah, today's like rock and roll is not as big as like when our parents were kids, which is crazy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
I
are you?
love the Deftones. I love Deftones so
Oh
much. That's the
yeah.
other one.
And like are you like into like Elvis Presley or like AC/DC, those two type of artists? Or is it
Elvis
kind of
is cool, but not as much. No. Not because I think it's just because I didn't grow up with it. I honestly think that's what it is. Like I grew up with a lot of like Queen
oh
and
yeah.
Meatloaf and like really dramatic rock and roll. My dad
Mhm.
was super into drama when it came to rock and roll, so I think that's definitely a part of it for me is I just did not hear those bands growing up. So it's now that I hear them now, it doesn't bring me that nostalgia and it doesn't really do as much for me. But I think if I would have heard it as a kid, I would be losing my mind on it now.
Oh yeah, especially like Queen, like Bohemian Rhapsody is oh my God,
Amazing.
it's legendary. Like I literally played that song when I just need like to like sing my heart out.
Yes, absolutely. Freddie Mercury can sing. He can
I
sing.
know, and like he was like on Queen before he became his solo career a couple years later, which I
Yeah.
didn't know until a couple months ago that he was in that band before he came solo, which I was like, what? Because I love Queen. Their music is just amazing. Like, did you see there's like a movie about them, like Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet though, but I heard it's great.
Yeah, I seen clips of it, but I never watched it. I don't know why I never watched it. Like the only thing I came close to watching it was clips from the movie on TV or YouTube and the things that came across the movie.
Yeah.
But like, do you think like being like a drag performer led you to become a singer-songwriter, or would you kind of say like you became wanted to become a singer-songwriter like growing up?
So I was a singer-songwriter since I was about nine, I'd say 8 or 9. I really started writing. I was singing since I was like 3, but I will say I wasn't confident enough. Um, and I only performed to my mom's friends. But then as I got older and started to do drag, that's when my like, sparkly persona came out and all the crazy makeup and all the sequins and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that really made me what I am now for sure. Drag definitely made me what I am now. Yeah.
Oh, like how
Yeah.
long were you doing that for? Like
Oh
drag
gosh. Only for about 4 or 5 years, but I'm still friends with all of the people from it. But at the time I was a machinist at the same time. So I was making like
performing?
baby ship parts and then going and doing drag until 3 in the morning and then going back to like a machine shop and then also being in like a screamo band. It
Oh
was a
my God.
time. Yeah, it was a
You must
time.
be just like so exhausted doing all those
I
streets of
was. I was
like
like running a lathe, like half asleep with glitter still on my face. It was a time. Yeah.
like would you like after you went from drag performing, would you go straight to machining or would you just go home, get some sleep, and go wake up and go?
I'd get home and only get a few hours of sleep, which you should not do as a machinist at all. I don't recommend. But yeah, it would be like maybe 2, 3 hours of sleep, and then I'd walk like 7 miles to the job.
Oh,
And then
you walk?
I walk, yes, yes.
Oh my God. It probably take you like at least an hour and a
Yes,
half to walk.
yes. It was a wild time.
Oh
I
my
don't
gosh,
I
I
don't
couldn't
regret any of
imagine. Like I'd be like, okay, well, I'm quitting this job. I'm going to
it.
because like with me, I'm a sleep deprivation. That's like I love sleeping. Like even waking up on an alarm at 11:30 this afternoon even killed me. Like I was like, he's like, I don't know why, but I'm the type of person that loves sleeping. That's like, even if I have to sleep in for a couple of hours and set an alarm for an
Yeah.
interview or something, I just want to like run away. Like it's so bad.
I feel that. I love sleep so much.
I know, like it's so bad. Even though I'm like a night person, I'll go to bed at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and sleep in. Even if I have to wake up at 11:30 noon, I'm like, screw it. I'm like, I just want to sleep. But like your debut album, Damn Feelings, came out in 2022, which is sparky euphoria, conjures images of everything from the 80s arcades and present day queer clubs to go to an hour convertible rides and marathon dive bar karaoke sessions with friends you love. And like, was your the 80s like your inspiration for the album, or is it kind of
For
like,
that, yeah, for that record, it was a complete referential record minus like a few tracks. I really, because it was my first time coming out with anything in pop, I wanted to give a nod to all of the pop I loved growing up. So that's why I did it the way I did it. It's not totally all 80s, but definitely that was a huge, huge part of it. I was listening to a lot of Prince, a lot of Whitney, and
mm.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like a both like a mix of rock and roll and pop together, basically.
I would say so, and there's a lot of synth in it too. I really like to play with pop. So like yeah, we went more rock oriented in some kind of Lady Gaga-esque, and then we went, in another we went with Janet Jackson for Long Way.
Mm.
Like things like that where we were really just obsessing over pop and we're like we want to give a nod to all these songs and I want to get this one out of the way and then start doing crazier stuff, which is my
Oh
next
my God,
project.
once you said Janet Jackson, I
Yeah.
like my mouth just like drew open. These like I love Janet Jackson. So it's
Yeah.
like I literally saw her in concert last month.
No
And she
way.
like she's terrific. She's amazing. Like once she came up on stage dancing, I literally looked at my mom and is like, okay, you need to sign me up for dance lessons after this. That's literally what I said. And then I was just like, oh, that she can literally dance the way she dances
Oh, I
in her
know.
50s.
She's amazing. Like always
And
has been just so incredible.
I
Yeah.
know, even like the whole Jackson family, like Michael Jackson,
Oh my
like
God.
the whole Jackson family so talented. And like when Michael Jackson came up on the screen, I'm like, okay, my life is complete. Like because I loved Michael Jackson as well. So I'm like, okay, well, I kind of got to see Michael Jackson in concert, so my life is complete. So
That's awesome. I have a really fun fact for you on some of the songs on my record. The keyboardist on it played on Michael Jackson's song Blood on the Dance Floor.
oh really?
So yeah, he played with the Temptations and OJ's and a couple other people, but that was like just so cool. Like it was so cool to have him in studio and the things that he wrote. Dancing While I Cry, that's one where we had him write the bridge keyboard part, and it was just insane, insane
Oh
to work.
my God. People
Yeah.
are probably gonna recognize the thing and be like, oh my God, that's totally Michael Jackson stan. And like
Oh yeah,
it's
we went for it. We went for it. Yeah.
yeah. And like what song on the album like do you cannot kind of like connect with the most?
Honestly, high and alone. Those are the ones that I wrote at home for the project. And they just were mostly improv vocals, like lyrics. And it's just because it was exactly on my mind, what I was going through at the time. This stuff is so hard. It's so hard and beautiful, but hard. And sometimes it gets to me in the form of just, I have to get it out via music, and those songs are definitely that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like it's like music like kind of like your way to get like your feelings out in a way because I know like with everyone it's like
100.
everyone has like their own way of letting feelings go.
Yes, 100%. I am more vulnerable in my music, especially now, like right now, what I'm working on, than I am with my friends, like my good friends on like a regular Saturday night. Like I much rather to, tell it out loud and get it out of my system, instead of just like talking through it and thinking about it all the time. I'd rather put it out in like a 3 minute and 30-second song.
Yeah, because like it seems like with songwriting, like it's more easier to let feelings go and
Mhm.
songwriting than actually talking to your friend to be like, okay, this is wrong. It makes more sense to kind of express yourself in that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And on the album, you have a song called Long Way, which I know you said it's about Janet, like kind of similar to Janet Jackson. But like,
Yeah.
how is this song like different from kind of like the other songs on the album?
We referenced Quincy Jones so much, who was working with Janet. That song in particular is the kiss to Janet Jackson and Rhythm Nation. That's like
Oh,
that is literally the whole song was us just obsessively listening to Janet and writing a song with her in mind. Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Was it like similar to Rhythm Nation, like her song? Or was it kind of like, okay, this is inspiring?
Oh my God. Like the whole record, but like Miss You Much, especially. We
Oh
love
my
much
God.
so much. It's so
Like
good.
Missy Much and Rhythm Nation songs are so good, especially Rhythm Nation. Like that's
Insane.
literally my favorite song by Janet. Like
Is
is
it?
Rhythm Nation.
It's
It's
so
like
good.
Rhythm Nation is like a song that's like if you need a dance song or want to get out, you're like, okay, I'm gonna put a song in my earphones and literally scream.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Like if you can go back into the 80s
Mhm.
and do anything, like what would you do?
I would be making music, hopefully. I would be making a record because it would be incredible to be in that time making something that I love like that. And also, I just would want to be there for all the clothes. Clothes were insane. I
Oh
loved
yeah.
them so much. And the makeup was crazy. And I
Oh.
just, I love it. Pile it on, you know?
Yeah, like the makeup and the way people dress and like the
Oh,
hairstyles, like I would die to be in that time, or even the
it's so
40s
cool.
or 30s, like the way all women would be in dresses, like the dances and music is like
Yeah.
it's like so different from what we have today.
I know. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's awesome to look at.
It really is. And like, what is like your songwriting process like?
Ooh, for the most part, I get a melody in my head and then immediately start improvising lyrics for the most part. Maybe there'll be like the other way is like there'll be a line in my head and I immediately start singing it, finding the melody, and then playing it on piano or guitar. And then normally I produce just a little bit. I'm not great at it, but I can at least get the point across to the other person I'm working with that is great at it.
Oh yeah. So you usually just like figure out the sound before you actually write the lyrics.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, like I'll just sing over whatever progression is happening, and I normally am like, yep, that's the progression. I don't like to overthink my lyrics because whatever comes up in my mind is what I'm subconsciously thinking about, so it's what I want to be writing about anyway.
And
Yeah.
like, would you like rather figure out the music first, like the lyrics, or would you rather figure out the sound? Because I know, like, with the songwriters I talk to, it's usually the other way around from other
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah, I'd rather have the chord progression. As long as I have the chord progression, I'm sold. That's what I would love to start out with, like every time, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, I just feel like
Yeah.
it's like much easier if you figure out like the actual music before the lyrics, so you don't want to.
100%. 100, and plus the melody, like you're gonna, sometimes it's cool to come up with the melody in your head first, but it's much harder to find the right chord progression after you get that melody, to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like you also came out with a Damn Feelings selection video. And like why did you decide to kind of create a deluxe in vinyl?
Oh, so I used to press vinyl for a living, and it was my favorite job that I had before getting to do this full time. And I just love vinyl. My husband and I collect. He's my manager as well. We have over 3,000 vinyl
Oh
in
my
our
God.
collection and a whole room dedicated to it. We have vinyl listening nights every week with good friends who either need therapy or just want to hang out and listen to music, and it's wonderful. So vinyl was just top of my list always. Working with Wax Mage is a dream. I working with them at the shop when I worked for them was awesome, but doing this and getting to go back and like press my own record was like a full circle, like just beautiful moment that I'll never forget.
It's like
Yeah.
crazy that like vinyls are not as popular as they were back when our kids were kids, when parents were
I
kids.
know they're getting, I mean, I'm just glad that they're getting what they're getting now because I feel like vinyl collectors are true music appreciators in so many ways. Not saying other
Mhm.
forms are not. I'm just saying, like, with vinyl, you have to pull it out, you have like this whole case to look at, the
Mhm.
inside sleeve, And then, not to mention, you have to be listening. You can't go do other things and then like just randomly wait for the needle to hit. Like you have to go back and like flip it over. So
Hmm.
it's more of a listening experience, in my opinion. You
Oh,
can't just pick up
definitely.
the phone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what's some videos do you have? Have like the 1,000.
Oh. So I have 3,000. I
Oh,
have
three.
3,000.
Oh,
I just got the new Fever Ray, which is killer. I got the new Melanie Martinez, which I'm super into. That's such a great record. It's so good. Um, but there's so many. We have a first pressing of a Frank Sinatra record,
ooh.
and we have almost all of his records, which just takes up like this huge box. Like the basically like behind me, like two of those.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
but there's one record in the wee small hours where we play it for people and they cry every time because it sounds like he's singing directly to you. It sounds like he's in
Oh,
the room with you. And we have these really cool custom speakers from his grandfather. They're like octagonal and they're on both sides of the room. They're so cool. And so being able to hear Frank Sinatra like that is insane. So I would put that up there on the top of the list. Yeah.
I know he like Frank Sinatra is really good. If I knew like oh he's singing to me in that experience, I'll be like okay my life is like nothing else matters. I'm crying type of thing.
Exactly.
But like what the last one I have for you is like what is some advice for upcoming singer-songwriters?
Don't listen to other people. If it's in your heart and you love it and you believe in it, do not do not let it go. Don't let it go. And also, I'm older and some people tell me I can't do it because I'm older, and that is just such a lie.
Oh
And
yeah.
the only reason you won't make it is because you stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my big things. Don't give up on yourself if you love what you're doing. Do not listen to other people when they tell you to do something else.
Exactly. Like
It
no
doesn't
matter
matter how big they are either. It doesn't matter if they're like super famous and they're like, you need to be doing this. If you don't believe in that and what you're doing is what you love, do not listen to them. There is a space for you. There's always space.
exactly
I'm
like
very
no
passionate
matter
about
how old
that.
like no matter how old you are, you can still start in your way like in singer songwriting or anything you want. Like no, you can be
Yes.
in your 30s and you can start. Like I
Yes.
did started doing my work at 14 years old and like I know like with the being now, I know it was super young, but then it's like might as well get started young than get started years later and have no experience.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
And like, what is like the last thing I like another question is that like if you could be one person for one day, who would it be?
Oh man. That's a really good question. Um, I don't know. There's so many different ways you can go with it, but I would probably go with someone kind of in the realm of where I want to be. Maybe like Chapel Rowan, just to see what she does on her day to day because she's growing as an artist. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't want too much pressure or too much responsibility.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, maybe someone like that I think would be cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. And like
Yeah.
what and like thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You're seriously amazing.
Oh,
And
you
I
are. Thank
love
you.
like getting to chat with you. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. And I
Thank
know you
you.
must be very busy, so I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And thank you everyone for listening. And I'll catch you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thank
And have
you.
a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.